Hey everyone, this is the Nips and Sips podcast featuring me. I'm Dr. Jeremy Boyd and my partner in crime over there, Dr. Brandon Cruz. Today we're going to be talking about what happens when you become an expert and essentially what's next in terms of marketing. Try and grow yourself, extend your reach, and kind of take it from there. But before we get into that, Brandon, how's it going?
Going well. Yeah, kind of switching it up this week with our conversation talk. I know you and I have had some similar paths and different paths and kind of our evolution. Really from through residency, I think that's kind of what really gave us, I guess, the confidence, for lack of a better word, to go to not only excel within the clinics that we were in, but then go out and kind of take it to the next level and do it on our own. But I guess before that, let's type into our drinks. I do have a request, which today I did not follow. I had I guess a fan, a listener, kind of call me out that I'm always drinking Noble Oak, and I have Noble Oak here again today. And the reason why that is, just for the audience, because you have a nice new cool beer every time, and I tend to rock with the same drink or two. And the reason why I have about 15 or 20 bottles of basically bourbon, scotch, or whiskey at home. Basically, every time I get a gift from someone I know, they know I have a podcast, they know it's Nips and Sips, and they get me another bottle of liquor. But I don't know. I don't like opening up like 20 different bottles and having like a sip here and there from one. So I've been rocking, one or two at a time. I was going to actually switch it up for her today, but today's been a bit of a chaotic day already, so I didn't have and I'm at the office and I have time to go home and get the bottle, and I forgot. So I'll have it on the next episode, I promise. But for those of you out there who might have the same philosophy, why the fuck am I always drinking the same thing? That is why I have these ginormous bottles. And Jeremy got me a couple sweet bottles, but one was the 18-year Johnny Walker, massive bottle. And to go
It's a big
through it, it's
bottle.
going to take me um, quite a few episodes, and to bounce between different bottles, it's just I don't want to have all these bottles open. So that's kind of why I stick with one and kind of plow through it, and then I go to the next one. So I hope that adds some clarification for everyone out there.
You know what? I was probably one of those people. Like, when I'm typing out things for like posting it up, and it's just like this episode features beer from yada yada yada, and it's like in yours I don't even have to change. It's at Noble Oak and
Yeah.
Noble Oak.
So I do need to
um,
change it up a little bit.
yeah, I mean, not that whiskey or bourbon gets bad when you
It
crack it
doesn't.
up.
So
Hey,
me and my girlfriend have a pretty small apartment, and I just don't want to have, because it's gotten to the point we have like a little liquor area where we keep our wine and stuff, but most of the bottles are like on the floor now, and it's getting a little outrageous. I am
man,
thankful for the bottles that everyone is getting me, but yeah, until I get a nice man cave or like you know business office with the next move we have, kind of delegated to that. But yeah.
yeah. Do you still have that one that's on the counter in your office? I feel like for a while when I was up there, there was this one like chilling on the counter. I'm like, no, this is a real place.
Well, I do have a bottle of wine up top that
I think it was a
one of
bottle of whiskey.
our I guess I don't know, should I say his name, Big Daddy Lupino,
Oh, Big Daddy.
had left, and he still listens, I think, here and there, so he might hear that. So I'm saving that. It's actually, I guess, being aged more. I'm looking at it as we speak. That one bottle you were talking about has finished.
Oh,
Actually, I
there
have
you
two
go.
bottles. They're finished. So I really only have the Noble Oak, and then I have a birthday gift bottle of Patron here, which I was actually thinking about opening that one up today, but
Straight
um,
Patron.
it kind of has been deviating away. Maybe next time I'll go with the Patron. But yeah,
Oof. Oof. I can't imagine an episode on straight tequila unless you mix it with something, which is approved. As long as you're not, bringing Trulies into the mix like you did that one time, then it's all. All
Yeah,
good.
yeah, that was in dire need.
Yeah.
I was in a pinch, man. Don't
Surprised none of the fans clapped at you for that one. But me personally, I am going to be drinking Crimson Skull from one of my clinics, local breweries in Glassboro, New Jersey. Of Bonesaw, one of my favorites. I've had this beer before. Oh yeah, oh yeah, that's some good sound effects. Um, Really just nice lager. It's a nice break it up from all the IPAs of summer and all those sort of things. So pretty crushable. Good Vienna style lager. I give it a 7.9. It's pretty good. From my Oso Brewery, which I think was in Phoenix. Real awesome place. As long as they're still open. So, but yeah, cheers.
Cheers. All right. So, I know we kind of rambled there for a little bit. Jer, I guess you're an expert now. When did you feel, let's start from the beginning here ish. When did you feel like you became an expert? And then how did that then turn into, well, what you have now, which is, I would consider, a successful business with a few employees and really carving out a niche in that South Jersey area?
Yeah, I mean, I still don't feel I would be consider myself purely an expert at this. I'm always, looking obviously to grow, learn more. But I guess just labeled either via like teaching or obviously amongst other PTs reaching out to us. So I guess I'm in that realm or starting to be. But yeah, I guess when it really began for me was definitely probably post residency. I don't even know if it's probably before the OCS exam. And what really kind of hit home for me was, looking at my outcome measures. At that time, we were using Photo. Let's just focus on therapeutic outcomes, I think. Just pretty much like an online outcomes surveys, your lefts, ODI. I know I've mentioned it probably a couple times on the show. When it was getting to that point where I was like 90th percentile in the nation of Photo, not the whole nation of PT, just people using that. That's kind of when I started to like, oh, I must be doing pretty well. And it wasn't like I started off in the 80th. It was lower than that. I always had a passion and compassion to be there for the clients. Had a decent therapeutic alliance, but once I tied it all together and add the expertise that residency gave me, that's where it started to kind of trend in when my outcomes were getting better, and that seeing that on actual objective data per se from qualitative data, I guess. That's when I started getting the confidence where I could kind of present myself as an expert, where just, different kind of tone of my voice, those sort of things. I think that's when it all began, but probably didn't really sink in till probably about like at least practicing for 2-3 years. Probably even I look at back then or what I was back then, I'm like, no, you were not expert at all. That's pretty much when it all settled in. I had my own client, my own kind of base. I didn't really need referrals to be kind of shoved to me. I had people kind of self-referring to me right around that 2-3 year marker. But that's kind of probably when it began for me. What about you, Brandon?
Yeah, I mean, a similar process. I joined residency because I felt like entry level PT school didn't satisfy my hunger, and I was basically wondering, if this is physical therapy, and that's kind of what put me on to the residency. So, I was probably maybe halfway through the residency when I really started to grow and develop. I had helped my former company, within probably 2 months of being on board, open up their second location. I was one of the lead clinicians at the time. So I guess, I was doing a lot of stuff outside as well, helping treat at races, go to different meetings, doctors meetings, things like that. And I kind of got earlier look at that. I'd say the most clinicians, all while I think at that point I was not even in the residency program, but beginning to go. And then I added the ability to become more confident and understand how to treat. That the residency gave me with clinical decision making and kind of really vetting through some articles and things like that. And then I think, aside from the outcomes thing, because I know that's stressed in residency, I would go, even away from that, just the feedback I was getting from clients, and it really showed in my schedule. My schedule with, um, with I was before a year's time it was just packed, and we weren't a high volume clinic. So I know, people in the high volume clinic will they're like, yeah, I'm packed within, a couple weeks because they're just being, shoveled patients. Where I had every slot, every half hour we were booked at the time was just booked from front to back, 3 days a week. Or whatever my schedule was. I think at that time I was swapping between 3 days and 5 days. But whatever it was, I was packed. Other clinicians in my clinic weren't. And it was like, when somebody's out and then they get shoved on your schedule, which nobody really likes, and then they become permanent on your schedule because they're
I
like,
really like you. Yeah.
they like you. And yeah, some of it may go for personality, but people, they ask, why didn't the other person do this? Why? And that always puts you in a sticky situation because you're like, well, I'm sure they were meaning to, but they didn't get to it yet. Or maybe, you kind of handle it politically, and not to throw anyone in the bus, but, when your schedule's full from front to back all the time, and other people's aren't, that's definitely something that I think you need to understand, is a form of marketing, internal marketing, that
Mm-hmm.
the people you're seeing want to keep coming back to you. The other people in the clinic are noticing a difference, and hop on your schedule. And then I was able to really build up my schedule by internal marketing, by talking to a patient, them saying their friend or their cousin or their sister or whoever, their family member is hurt. And I would say, bring them on in, I can help them with this.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how I built my company now, for the most part, up until now, until recent, is that word of mouth internal marketing. And I think, PTs need to do a better job of that and not just rely on outside referral sources. And I think, if you're starting at another company, that's kind of one way to gauge it and kind of build that name up, is you're building up your brand within that clinic, whether you decide to leave or you stay. So, internal marketing, for point number one, it is probably your biggest way, right there. So.
Yeah. I mean, people do business of physical therapy with the person, the therapist, which is why I always kind of put out stuff and material and what I'm doing on a daily basis. So people link, hey,
Mm-hmm.
Jeremy's a physical therapy guy.
Yeah.
That's always kind of implanted into their brain. That's a good strategy to kind of keep doing. And I agree with you, Brandon. Word of mouth is huge, to sign good work. That's how my clinic has been growing. As I mentioned before, I'm 80-90% direct access, and it's maybe a little bit less now. Getting some more surgical because people are saying, "Hey,
I love that.
no,
Yeah.
these guys are really good at what they did. You need to come see them." So that's huge, especially again when you're starting to ultimately, as you're saying, not to try and throw other therapists on their bus or clinics on their bus. But when you're getting people from other clinics and they're sticking out with you, there's some people are like doctor shop. They go from one place to another, to another, to another, probably because they're not getting results. And you're the one that they stay and they get results with. That's a huge sign. And when you're the one that finally figured them out, that I think is a level of expertise, especially when they get to 3 or 4 PTs, and those are your best referral sources. be that person that's fixed one of those individuals, they will refer everyone and their mother to you
Yeah.
because they're finally giving them relief.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I think I've had some strange things. I had PTs actually see a patient and then actually refer them over to us, and we're technically competitors.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's just like, why? They're like, I can't handle this patient. And that's it. It's just like, all right, well, I guess at that point you are the expert.
Yeah.
So, um, and it's good to kind of display that, show those sort of things. You don't need to be, you know, gaudy with it or, flashy and drop all your letters and stuff. Cause let's face it, nobody cares about any of those. But, just the way you present yourself and then results. Toko, my fellowship director, he always says in his lectures, the proof is in the pudding. Uh, so it's something I like when he says that is, when you're getting results, that's when you know you're doing something right. Um, so that's a good point.
So I want to ask you a question. You alluded to it before, and you do this way better than I do. Is leverage social media, especially Instagram, to portray, I guess, one, yourself as an expert, and two, as a way to market freely. Um, so if you can kind of share that and how you've built that up over, I feel I've seen you grow in that aspect. I mean, you've had your clinic for what, coming up on 3 years now.
Yep.
I've seen a huge jump over the past, I'd say, year, maybe a little more. But I mean, you've always been pretty good with it. But I really see a difference, and to the point where I'm like, oh shit, I need to step up my game because you're crushing it. And a little, friendly, for lack of a better term, jealousy, I'll say. And I mean that with the nicest and most complimental way, because I see it and I'm like, all right, this guy's killing it, and I need to get on that level. So if you can share your light or your expertise on that, because I don't do a good job of that part.
It's because you're spending so much time making all these courses.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, it's kind of funny because right before I started the business, I think I told my wife, I was like, yeah, I think I'm done with both Facebook and Instagram at the time. And she didn't like that because she wanted to tag someone in all her photos. So I just didn't want to have an argument. So I left it. And then business started and it was something I wanted to, I started with my previous company and I was just like, this Instagram thing, I really think it's gonna kind of take off to a degree. Wish I invested in it in some degree. But anywho, um, it was just, I was just like, people can get free information. They can kind of see who we are beforehand. I know the big companies are not doing this at all. So once I left, I was like, yeah, I should probably stick with it. And I just I kept it simple initially. I just was like, I'm just going to put up what I'm doing. Not even going to edit anything. I'm just going to take a bunch of shit ton of stories and just kind of put it up there, constantly throughout the day. And it was cool because I was in these like local business groups, not many PTs or any PTs at all. And they always like, the guys at Trifecta, their content's awesome. And it was just like, and I always think, I was like, oh, and think is that anything that great. It's just literally just me taking a story every day. And then it grew to a point where luckily I have, my main man, Cam, who helps me out. He helps manage. He just kind of took what I was doing and just took it to the next level of helping me out, put up stuff. And I still have my sort of thing. I have my PT side of things. There's like the more other like fun side of stuff he takes care of.
Mm-hmm.
But I just let it evolve. Has pretty much been doing the same stuff of like, I knew what things I tied into why people saw me or what those individuals that, eventually got to me and they actually got fixed. A lot of those people were like either, some sort of lack of manual therapy, or lack of progressions or those sort of things. So I was like, if I just keep posting what I'm doing manual therapy wise, people are probably seeking that out or want to see some sort of thing where it's like, wow, their doctor's actually working with these people. So just kept making post and post and post about that. And yeah, it's just continued to be growing, and it's definitely something that becomes a part of us. And we hear all the time, like people are like, they say before they even come in, they're like, I feel like we know you guys already. I'm like, that's good. A little stalkerish, but that's good.
No creepy.
Yeah, no one's judging. If that's the case, keep watching. But
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that is missed in most businesses, but especially the PT business, where a lot of people, they go in and they see 5 different providers and an A to tech, who's who. They can't even remember like who the hell they saw. I'm like, oh, if it's like a local place and I know the therapist, I'm like, who'd you see? And they're, I can't remember. So
Yeah.
that lack of personal connection is
So,
huge.
so would you say that has had a direct ROI where people will hit you up or DM you and be like, I want to schedule an appointment, or is it more building a brand? And now you've been in the college area for, what are you coming up on 2 years there or 1 there?
No, we've always been in the college area. I
No,
mean, we're
I'm sorry, your
the
new
new
location.
spot. Oh,
Yeah,
we're coming up on 1 year. Yeah.
coming up on 1. Like where it's coming around and now it's kind of like a brand and now people know that. Like this is kind of the conundrum with marketing. Like it's hard to, unless you're like a big company like Starbucks or Mercedes or something, where you just have a logo and people know it because they've been around for decades. um is that RI direct, or is it just you feel it's a little bit of everything, your consistency, that brand and names kind of building, and now your phone's just ringing off the hook because of that consistency for 2-3 years now?
I definitely think it's the latter of just the brand itself. Obviously, there's a component of me because it was just me for such a while, and I'm obviously the head therapist there. But just essentially everything we did, attaching our logo and those sort of things, all our gear and everything like that. It's pretty force fed to you once you like walk into it. But attaching that to our expertise, to our manual therapy videos, to our exercise videos, to our success stories, to our 130 plus Google reviews, like attaching that, you know, is making people become familiar with the brand. People like, oh, I've heard of Trifecta.
Yeah.
Those sort of things. I've had a graphic designer. He's like, dude, your essentially your logo and all that sort of stuff, your branding's on point. He's like, you want to take this and put this somewhere else, you can, simply because that's how much we have it out there. Now I've heard stories of like my t-shirts are in Pennsylvania. I don't even know how that is, not including my in-laws that wear it pretty much every day of their lives.
Yeah.
But those sort of things, we have people like throwing up the Trifecta sign randomly to each other. Like if they see someone else wearing a t-shirt and they may not be, they'll just go up like this to them, and they're like,
Yeah.
they may not
That's
know
awesome.
each other.
That's great.
So yeah, we just kept doing it and consistently. And I don't think we've ever, maybe there's been 1 week in almost 2.5, 3 years where we didn't like post or something like that, or didn't do something like that. But that consistency, I mean, early on stories used to go up on the local town. It was just be like, oh, I did a story in Glassboro, go up to Glassboro town, and we had somebody who like reached out to us. It was just like, I saw your story on the local town one. Figured I'd check it out. It looked like you guys were doing cool stuff. It's like, oh, cool. A lot of what I put up on there isn't. It's a very snippet of what actually happens. It's 15 seconds of a 45-minute to hour-long session, and I know what the people want to see per se, and whatever it takes to get a person into the door. Sure, may I say, stupid cupping video. I shouldn't even say stupid cupping, because now I use it fairly wisely and I do get good outcomes with it. But initially, it was a gimmick. I'm not gonna lie, it was a $20 gimmick.
Yeah.
But I knew people were attracted. Like, ooh, what's that?
Yeah.
If it brought them into brought them into the door, and they have chronic low back pain, they're asking about the cupping, and then I'm like, yeah, sure, we'll implement it. But it wasn't the cupping that fixed them and those sort of things. It attracted them to bring them into the clinic, but it was my education. It was me getting them back. It was correcting their form. It was any hands-on techniques, other techniques I did to help them out. It was a combination of everything. But yeah, it was that, that consistency. And now it's like cool to hear, that's just like, yeah, I know a trifecta. And that's what I wanted, as much as it's like, oh, I want to be viewed as an expert. I want my facility, my clinic, my team to be viewed as experts. And that requires hiring very like-minded expert or future experts as well. Something I love of yours that you do a better job than me is like, you have your education videos of stuff is even next level. I know you've done some stuff of like, differential diagnosing. I think that's sometimes pretty popular for a lot of people. Like, oh yeah, I've had that, and they treated this and nobody's got it there. So those are certain things I like.
I need to get back onto that. It's making the videos and graphics and editing it and stuff like that.
It's time consuming.
It's very time consuming, but you're right. I need to do a better job with that. I like the videos because the videos are shot. I can just pop those up.
Yeah.
And I think that's, in my area, has been a advantage because I've gotten a lot of business from that, really hosting courses, which portrays us, because you co-host with me, as we're the expert, and then I get patients from that, like you said, people referring. Because of that, I've also tried to open up the clinic to other companies coming in and treating or teaching. We've had rock tape. We were trying to have sulfalzone in for dry needling, but that's been put on pause because of the Practice Act and COVID now. We've had like a blood drive in here during COVID, just opening up the facility to other things other than what you do, to just kind of bring general awareness to not only the location, but what you do as well.
Yeah, I think that's huge. I always tell people if they're in the area, come check us out, patients and stuff. I have I'm not shy about that at all. Because I want them to see it. If they're not seeing from like stories or non-stories and those sort of things. And I think in a couple minutes of just watching us, we pretty much get just about everyone who walks into our doors because they can see like, this is something different.
Yep.
For anyone that's been to PT or things like that. Yeah, I can't remember the last time someone who's actually like some people are like, well, if I'm like, hey, why don't you just come check us out?
Yep.
If you're ever in the area, I don't think I've ever had someone who's like, I'm not going to come in. So, that's it. And what they're seeing is, oh, wow, the therapist is talking, they're confident. The patients are saying, yeah, like if they spend a couple minutes, like, well, yeah, I'm getting better with this. Yeah, it doesn't hurt with this. Little conversations, even the non-medical person's hearing on. And that's tied into, if you break it all back down, is your expertise. So you use that and then you grow. And that's a big thing is I would have gotten to this point, and I'm sure with you, Brandon, as well, if we didn't invest early and often, as in mostly all investments should be, in kind of our education to kind of get to that level. I think that's huge. Pays lots and lots of dividends. And then it opens up into things like teaching. Especially for non-PhD, those sort of things. I've taught at 3 different universities and schools. Brandon, I think you're probably even more than that at this point. But they won't even bother bringing me on board unless, all that level expertise, postings, the credentials, all that sort of stuff. And then I can use that as a marketing tool. All right, who you want to go to therapist wise? Joe Schmo or Jeremy Boyd, who also happens to be a professor at 3 different schools. Oh, this guy
Yeah.
sounds a little bit better. So
Yep.
just tying it all together, but if you break it down to its simplest point, you have to get to that level of expertise first, or it just won't work, uh, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And it sounds like, I hate to say or belittle it, but it's kind of like, and maybe, this could work in both hands, or both sides of the coin. On one side, yeah, we come out as, doctors in the profession, but you know what does that leave you? And I'm sure people leverage social media in going out and just their personality, and can leverage that just fine, and build 6-figure online businesses with that, versus being able to kind of walk the walk a little bit more. It sounds like building that expertise and then having multiple layers to it. It's like, okay, yeah, um, I'm learning how to leverage social media and teaching and doing it. You've done competitions at weightlifting things. You've kind of opened yourself up completely in your community. And then with that, it's, yeah, I can do this, but I have the education, I have the credentials, I have the training, I have the experience, everything behind that and underneath that, as well. So sounds like it's more, aside from just marketing, it's marketing your true expertise and your true niche on top of that.
Yeah, absolutely. And, that's it. Our niche over here is, sports, rehab, athletics. If you break it down into more, it's like sub niching into, yeah, I do CrossFit and Olympic lifting, and I like enjoy training soccer and basketball athletes. We have Justin who, um, he likes doing Brazilian jiu-jitsu, football, and any of the other kind of funny sports. Um, yeah, you can get to that level once you kind of back it up. Again, combine, all right, I have clinical experience, but I also have to have experience of the sport and those sort of things. And that's when those particular athletes will become more attracted to you. It's like, all right, yeah, he knows what he's doing clinically, but now he backs up because he knows the lingo of my sport and he participates in it or had a history of participating in it. So that's taking it to that other level of expertise. I see a ton of gymnasts. I obviously do not do gymnastics. I do not have the flexibility for such things. I would die. But I think I admire them to the highest level of, I think they're some of the greatest athletes in sports. But what I did was just, took some things, talked to some, gymnasts themselves, clinicians that are gymnasts, did a ton of research, understood their sport, and then I got a whole following from it.
Yeah.
So I think it's important. The world is just trending that way of expertise and specializations, and we have to portray that. It's just same with our medical physicians and those sort of things. You'd rather probably for your ACL tear get operated by an orthopedist versus a general practitioner.
Mhm.
PT's going that way. It's maybe not forced into residency, or fellowships aren't forced at this time or anything like that. But with other professions getting their doctorates, like occupational therapy, athletic training, that's going to be our next evolution, is specializations, and they too will specialize. So yeah, it's and then it's just a matter of marketing it from there.
Yep.
But,
Good stuff.
yeah. Any other tidbits or anything like that you can you do the market there?
Um,
That,
some of the stuff, I'd say this is more traditional stuff. I mean, I think you're doing a great job with, the social media and leveraging that. And I think more therapists need to do that, myself included. Um, if you have the opportunity, definitely try and shadow, a physician during surgery or even during office hours. I did that early on. That has helped. That's didn't help early on, but some connections I made a few years back doing that, might, or will be paying dividends if I open up my second location, just because now that's where they are. And now I have some kind of, piggy banks to kind of tap into now. Okay, I had a relationship, didn't always work where they were able to send to me just because of proximity, but I always sent to them because they were an expert. And if it was like, you need a surgeon, this is the guy to go to. So, in talks with him, I was saying I might be opening a second location. He's like, oh, that's by me. I can definitely, refer a lot of people to you. So you never know when things will pan out. Don't always look at the short game, which is very hard to do. Trust me. I think we both have fallen under that, but you never know when you have an impact on somebody, and then years later, it kind of comes back, and probably comes back tenfold.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can help someone out as well, because you never know when it's going to come back, and it may not come back from them, but it may come back from somebody they know, and things like that. So just kind of continue to put yourself out there, um, and things will begin to open up for you in the long run.
Yeah, absolutely. This last 2 weeks alone, I got 2 clients from people I met during the first couple weeks that I started the business. I haven't really contacted much. Maybe a like here on Facebook or two. Hey, how are you doing? No real conversation since, but they remembered it 2 years ago, and it's opened doors for me. So definitely. Well, I think that's pretty good. Hope you guys picked up some nuggets of knowledge, you experts out there, and anyone listening and who isn't at the expert level. As we said before, definitely invest in education. Even I know that the getting the doctorate was a grind, and it should come with a title that you become an expert. You are to a degree, but there is more beyond just our doctorate. So keep open-minded and try and get to those levels, and that'll definitely give you the confidence to portray yourself that and grow your business, or make you a more confident clinician. Make it more enjoyable. Nothing's more enjoyable than fixing people up quicker, in my opinion. They love you for it, and then you end up like this guy who gets so many gifts of whiskey and bottles of booze that it's now invading his floor space. So that's expertise right there, if I've ever heard it. So definitely a lot of options out there for you. We obviously went down the residency fellowship route, but Brandon has created an awesome virtual mentorship that we've. How many people are now in it now?
We just had 3 new signups. So we're at, I believe, what's that, 8 now?
8.
8. I know I've had another 3 or 4 people reach out to me, saying they're going to do it and looking to do it. So hopefully they join. So we're growing. We've had it open
Definitely.
about 1 month, 1.5
1
months.
month. We've had
Um,
two
yeah, it was like
rounds.
mid-July-ish where we kind of put it out there. So
Yeah, give or
yeah,
take.
whatever, 1.5, 2 months. That's right. We're already September 10th.
Yeah.
The first 10 days didn't count. The Labor Day was in there. Definitely threw something of that. So that platform. Hopefully, if you guys haven't checked it out, please do. It's led by myself, Jeremy, and Kyle, who's been on the show before. All fellows or fellows in training. We have 600 plus fellowship articles that we've basically extracted from our programs, and just even stuff that we've looked up on our own, and put in there. We have bi-monthly calls with us 3 to pick our brains, to discuss cases, and private discussion board to help synthesize research, and just talk about really any and all things PT. We have a financial literacy. I can't even talk today. Financial literacy section of books that we've read, or resources that have helped us. We have business section as well. Obviously, us 3 are business owners. Want to be able to pass that on to you in a strength conditioning. So stock full of information. Right now, it's at probably the cheapest price it's ever going to be. It's $97 to access all the 100 videos that are on there, and there will be more added to that. And then it's $30 a month, or $29.99 technically, for our for access to everything else. So you can quit at any time. Don't need to feel obligated to be tied in for multiple years. Though I think to get the most out of it, being involved for a good 6 months or a year is probably the best thing. But you can drop it at any time. We are getting up there in volume. I will kind of say this: prices will be going up as we get more and more people. So if you guys are thinking about it and kind of just dragging your feet a little bit, please reach out to Jeremy and I. So, we'd be happy to hop on a call with you and show you around before prices do go up. So check that out, guys.
Yep. So speaking of reaching out to us, we can be reached at Mnips and Sips on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm at The Decent Doctor and at Trifecta Therapeutics. And Brandon's at Pursue PT Now and Think Like a Fella. Thanks for listening in, everyone, and cheers, everybody.
Cheers, guys.